Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football. With my vast experience all over the world coaching and being a sports agent, I want to give you a little bit of an insight into how to build a team and when you can spot if a manager is actually choosing the right players for the right roles, and so you can learn this stuff yourself. So when something happens at a national team level or your club level, you can actually know straight away if the manager is a complete moron, which is 95% of the time, or he actually knows what he's doing or what he's talking about. And when I lay out these simple questions for you, you're going to go, well, that was obvious. Yeah, but no one asked the questions because they don't know. As soon as you ask the question, you will come up with the answer. Before I even start telling you the answer, you're going to go, oh yeah, well, that's obvious. Right, so let's start right from the beginning. And there's a little bit to get over here. We're going to dwell on the England-Belgium game. It's going to be our sort of backdrop as I draw around and show you things. But we're first of all going to talk our first pick as our team. We're the England manager, and we pick this guy here. Little dinosaur hands who can't play out the back. Well, we know he can't play out the back because the first goal Belgium scores, he whacks the ball over here, someone else takes it and he smashes it into the goal. Right, but there's a problem. If you are playing with a team that plays high pressure or keeps the ball a lot, you need a goalkeeper that can play out at the back. So the question is, when you look at your main starters, your main players, does Harry Kane play up? Yeah, he kind of plays a high pressing, but he's so far away. Doesn't really matter as much how he does, but Saka does because he plays at Arsenal and they're a pushing, expansive team. What about Foden? Yeah, plays at Man City. That's a pushing, expansive team. What about someone like Declan Rice? Yeah, pushing an expansive player, trying to close the ball down and put pressure on the team. What about Jude Bellingham? Yeah. What about Kyle Walker? Yeah. What about John Stones? Yeah. What about Harry Maguire? No. He sits at the back and doesn't get to the halfway line. However, there's a key point. I'm going to come on to Harry Maguire. He would still be in my England squad. Not my team, but my squad, which I'm going to come on to in a little bit about the differences of why you need somebody like him in certain games, which I'm going to come on to when I start showing you how we're actually putting our team together and the right reasons and why all of this fits together. And you're suddenly going to start seeing how jigsaw pieces all slot in. And when England can't play expansive attacking football because they've got the likes of Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford at the back, which is basically an anchor saying that you can't go past the midfield because if you do, we'll get counter-attacked and scored on. And all of those players in that team know it. So they can't play how they play for their club team. So if you are having two people change the entire way all your best players play, chances are you don't want those two people in your team. Yet they are, yet that's how he plays, and yet that's what people don't really understand. But let's just move it on a little bit. So one of the other reasons you have certain players in your team, like this guy here, whoever he is, I don't know, he's not world class. He has got no idea how to play football. You've got a player over here pressuring the ball as a centre-back, and you're not backing him up. You're leaving that exact, look at that gap here. And you're going to go, oh yeah, but Cash, he's tracking the runner. There's no runners. There's nobody over here. He needs to be as close to his teammate here. And for some reason, Donk has decided to go onto the floor. And with him diving on the floor for no reason against Lukaku, he just basically booked himself off my team. That's what I would have done if I was coaching the squad. I would have just pulled him straight off the game. Like, mate, if you can do that, that's an under-17 tackle. You're trying to slide tackle the ball out. What are you doing? Against Lukaku. He's going to beat you. He's big and strong. He's going to stay on his feet. You need to be big and strong and stay on your feet. What's more worrying, just about this mistake here, is how this guy reacts. Because if this was a Kyle Walker, he'd already been over here. If this was, right, the reason why you have a Kyle Walker or a Joe Gomez in your team is because those two individuals are ridiculously fast. Gomez is not a good defender, but he's so fast and he's a big, strong lad, he wins the ball accidentally. And sometimes you need that in your team. And when you're playing against a player like Lukaku, yeah, he's not as fast as he used to, but he's a big, strong lad, and he's pulled your two defenders apart. You better get back in cover. And look what ends up happening. Here he is. He's had a shifty look and he can see a runner coming in, this guy. This is how terrible he is defending at an international level. And it's a friendly, Cash. Yeah, it matters. Because if I want to win this friendly 5-0. Because you know what? I want to win every game 5-0. And if you act this way in a friendly, you act this way in a real game. And that whole sort of standard has gone out of football in England. It's just like, oh, we don't have to. Yeah, you do. Yeah, and the whole world's like it. Well, we don't have to try hard. Hey, I'll flip my fries. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does. Because now you don't have a job. And right, it's so important that this guy does his job properly. And he can come in and back up his teammate here to allow him to pressure Lukaku more, right? Or he can drop off and cover the run. As we play this, look at the little shifty. Look, see, he sees him. Look, does the shifty look? Doesn't get anywhere near him. Doesn't try to get over there. Just doesn't get close to here. Keeps that massive gap of separation in the middle here between his centre-back partner. And these guys are just laughing at him. Just straight up laughing. Now, when the ball's played, look at what this clown is doing. He's now facing his goalkeeper instead of running into pressure the ball. The guy that's receiving the ball. He's completely on air shape. He saw him not once, but twice. Refused to go nowhere near him, and then couldn't get close enough when the pass was made. The cross came in, and he's facing his own goal. How are you an international footballer? Like, well, what are you doing? And don't say, oh, it's happening really fast. No, it's not. They had a little cuddle session over here where they fell over and he managed to get back up and still try to defend it. No, this isn't a quick counter-attack. He had all the time in the world. And this is why people like this should not be on your football team if you want to win the Euros. Not going to happen. Sorry, they're terrible. Okay, there's not much I really want to analyse in this game. I'm going to show you in a minute about how you actually set up a team. I've been trying to find some decent software. I found one, but it's not doesn't do what I want. So I'm just going to do it, show you in a PowerPoint, and explain to you how you set up your England team based on your current squad and what you have. And by the way, I'm ignoring injuries, but I'm going to show you how, as soon as I start talking about it, key players' attributes are going to kick in. You go, oh yeah, well that makes sense. He's not very good at that, but that guy's awesome, and he just covers for him. Oh well, that makes sense. And it's all about having balance in your team, which this England team has no balance in whatsoever. And this is what I want to show you. When I watched this game, the amount of times the entire England team was attacking in that little tiny square, and Belgium just laughed because like everyone's getting in their own way. I saw Jude Bellingham run through the box probably 3 times, and his own player took it off him because he's too close to him. There is nobody out wide. There is no width whatsoever. No one knows how to play the game properly. Coach the game properly. You've got, who's this? 12. That's Joe Gomez in the box on the right wing trying to deliver a ball. Never going to happen. Like, it's just never going to happen. You've got no width, no one to pass the ball back out here to create an in-swinger or any power or any substance of the ball. You've just got a complete bundle of melee of players. And if you watch this game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They couldn't get any good shots off. They couldn't do anything because they can't stretch the defenders. You cannot stretch the defenders without having any width. You have to go, that's what you go back, you go across, you look to try to get a cross in. As they shuffle over, you go back, across, slowly and surely, someone's going to open a gap, someone's going to open a half space, you can play the little ball in, or you can whip in a cross. If you don't have any width, they're never going to come out. You can't. They just sit there and go, this is easy. We're international football players. This is a cakewalk. And that's exactly what happens. I'm going to show you a little bit on the last goal. A couple of goals have gone in. And then I want to get into how you actually build a team properly, look at attributes of players. And as soon as I start talking about it, you're going to understand it. And you're going to be telling other people soon. Here, last minute again. But look at how many England players are all in the same area again. There's no one over here. Does it matter? No, they get a goal, but it does matter because what it means, it's a fundamental thing that's gone wrong for the whole game. And as a manager, Gareth Southgate's not addressed it. And if he hasn't addressed it, it means he hasn't seen it or understood it. So he doesn't really know what he's doing. He chucked out a bunch of players on the team sheet and said, off you go, boys, try and win me a football game. The main reason this happens, though, is this defender here for Belgium, not sure he is, switches off. Now, this is what you do in modern times, is you try to get the play for the goal kick, and you defend. No, you defend it, and you just defend the corner. So all he needs you to do here is head that ball, and he's trying to shield it out of play. Just kick it out of the corner, and he doesn't. The other guy ends up beating him around the corner and knocks the ball around him. I can remember people at non-league doing this and me yelling at them back in 1999, year 2000 time. That was happening in non-league, and basically the non-league player would never play again because he didn't understand that. Look, you're on the goal line, you kick the ball out, get a corner, defend it, because we'll lose games because of you, because of that. They've just lost an international friendly because of it. When this ball's cut back, though, you can see how much the Belgium team has panicked and just lost all sort of shape because it's late on into the game and they've all just overpressed the ball, allowing Bellingham to be free for the cut pass to smash it into the net box. But that isn't by design. That isn't because Liverpool. Man United. Who am I today? Sorry, that's because England haven't really created any proper chances. They haven't really built this attack. They haven't really done anything correct here. They've just kind of got lucky and been a bit overwhelming. Let's jump into those team tactics and you can start to understand it a bit better. Okay, so we're going to use England as the Blues and we're going to talk about how the centre-back partnerships go. Now, when you listen to these clowns, they talk about something called a double pivot, which is absolutely and utterly moronic. Anyone who mentions the word double pivot is an idiot. Put a piece of wood down, smash 2 nails into it and try to pivot the piece of wood. You can't, because you need 1 point to pivot. The fact that they don't know that you can only pivot around a single point, right, is insane. That means, so the world's IQ level is going down. The dumbest people in the world have always been footballers. So as the world has got stupider, footballers have got even stupider. You need a single point to pivot. That's the point. It comes in and you pivot. You don't come in, pass it to somebody else and go to somebody else. That's not called a pivot. That's not a pivot. You're not pivoting. So stop calling it a double pivot. Oh, yeah, but you're a moron, so you're going to. Right. So the big problem is every one of England's players are high-pressing players that want to win the football. You've got a Phil Foden here, you've got a Jude Bellingham here, and a Declan Rice here. That's exactly how you want your midfield, any way, shape or form, and you want Harry Kane up front. Now, Harry Kane can be interchangeable with an Ivan Toney or an Ollie Watkins. Fine, because you've got an out-and-out striker who you're going to try to feed through these two players here, and he knows his role down here. Now, the other two players here, you want to be players that play wide. Brilliant. Saka, Jack Grealish. Who's that other kiddie? Was it Palmer that was playing? Oh, no, sorry, the guy from Newcastle I quite like. Oh, I'm going to forget his name. Anthony Gordon. So what you want to think of is say, okay, you've got Saka here, could be injured. Jared Bowen can come and do a similar job. Anthony Gordon could be over here. Jack Grealish coming in doing a better job. Why do we want Jack Grealish? Because he plays the same system as Phil Foden. He plays a similar system as, same system as Carl Walker's going to be my centre-back with John Stones. Why are we having John Stones and Carl Walker here? Because we're having Trent here. Where's Trent going to be playing? Oh, look, he's going to play in the midfield like he does for his club. What? He does that and it fixes all your midfield problems? Chilwell can be at the back here because he's probably the best left back England's got. Other than that, it would probably be Dunk. But he'll still be able to get up to the field a little bit, but you don't need to get into these 5 people's space. All you're really doing is holding the line. Carl Walker's no one's beating him for pace. You're not really worried defensively because, quite frankly, no one's going to beat you. They're not going to get the ball, pass the ball through these guys here. This guy here, Phil Foden, will be getting changed, and I'll be bringing on that little guy for Liverpool because this is the problem. With Trent here and Saka here. Saka doesn't want to come back, neither does Salah for Liverpool. So the moment that you've got exposing this situation, you need a player that can deal with this. And that would be that little Harvey Elliott kiddie for Liverpool. Now here's the problem. I'm not taking off Phil Foden and replacing him with Harvey Elliott. I'm putting Harvey Elliott there and probably moving Phil Foden maybe over to the left, maybe somewhere, depending on where things are going, because I don't want to take him off because he's probably one of the best players. But that's being able to mix things up and change things and realise, right, if we're in trouble. Now, if you're playing against, pick a weaker side, Finland, you can get away with doing that because they're not going to punish you. If you're playing against France, you're not playing this way anyway. Carl Walker isn't playing centre-back. Carl Walker is now playing right-back. Trent, sorry, you're getting knobbed off. John Stones, who was playing over there, now you're playing there. Harry Maguire's coming in and filling in. Wow, why? Because you're not getting up the field as much as you want. You're pretty much playing everyone else kind of similar. But the difference is you don't want that pace and power from Mbappe on that side to ruin your whole side here. So you're playing much more defensively. And because you're playing much more defensively, you need someone much stronger. And that's where you're looking for a Harry Maguire. Because the France still employ Livery Giroud to have that long through ball up top. And that's what he can deal with. And that's being able to have a couple of different options to deal with different situations. That's just sort of on the right-hand side. Now, we could go further into detail about how you would set up your left-hand side. But remember what I'm trying to tell you here is like, okay, we've got a Trent problem, but don't worry, we've got a Carl Walker. So we don't really have a Trent problem for pace because we've got a Carl Walker that can deal with it. And if it gets really bad, we can put in someone here. Or we can bring him off and we can put somebody else on there because we want to keep Foden on and we don't want to put the Harvey Elliott kiddie in there just to appease Trent because he's not having a good game. If he is having a good game, we might be taking Foden off or maybe moving him up here or doing something different. But it gives you options. All of a sudden, you're starting changing and you're giving loads more options. England don't have any options because they don't know what to do. They're playing Mainoo in midfield. And if you think Kobe Mainoo should be starting in centre midfield, you have no idea about football. Let me explain to you why. Kobe Mainoo is a player who gets in the way a bit. He's 19. He's got a bit of athleticism. He can run around and get in the way a bit. If you're telling me your whole attributes, he doesn't pass, doesn't assist, isn't a natural sort of, linker of play. He's only 19. He's got a long way to go. He can get there, yeah, but not now. He just gets in the way a bit. And you're telling me you're going to waste a midfield spot on a player that can, get in the way a bit. Jordan Henderson can get in the way a bit. I wouldn't have him in the team. So it's like, what are you talking about? You cannot go onto this hipster football because you hear a thing on the TV and go, right, that's the right idea. Yeah, Mainoo gets in the way a bit, so we need him to start for England. It is moronic. And the other thing is, well, when you've got someone like a Jude Bellingham here and you've got an option to put him out. You're not necessarily putting him out here. What you're really doing is linking him up a bit here, and you're bringing in the James Maddison, and you're pushing Bellingham on a little bit further because you've got options. But this England team doesn't seem to have any options. Other than that, I can prattle on for all day about this. Maybe I need to do this on a live stream better with a whiteboard, because if I have a whiteboard, then I can take questions and answers and do better things. If you've got any, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them for you. Other than that, see you next time.